All right, so we are going to solve some rational equations. This should be a review from Algebra 2, but again, we know that you may have missed some of Algebra 2, so we'll pick it up from here. So rational expressions are, all the little fractions and they don't have an equal sign. But now we're doing rational equations. There are two ways to solve these little guys. One is by proportion and cross multiply. Please excuse my little handwriting and my beautiful surgical wrap. We can cross multiply, or the other option is to multiply by the least common denominator, which is kind of like how we add the rational expressions, and then we're going to solve it from there. So let me just show you an example of each. So first, if we're going to use method 1 and cross multiply, we would have 4 times x minus 6 and 7x. And then you just solve that equation. So we would distribute, get all of our variables to one side, and divide. All right, so that would be what it would look like if we were cross multiplying. We could also do it this way, which I'll show you. So you can kind of see how it works, where we would multiply both sides by the least common denominator. So basically, I'll show you how I do it. It's kind of like that. I would put x and x on this side, kind of like when we multiply, or when we're adding and subtracting, like that. So we have the same denominator. So on this side, we have 7x over x times x minus 6. And on the other side, we have 4 times x minus 6 over x times x minus 6. Now, what you can do at this point is just kind of forego the denominator and solve the numerators. Okay? Now, the reason why is because, check this out, once we have the common denominators, we end up with the same thing. So you can see from here, we're at the same cross multiplying part. So it's just going to depend on what you want to do. What they show a lot of times on notes is that they'll multiply the whole thing kind of in a different format. I'll show you that on this next one so you can see how it would look. Okay, so on this one, we're going to cross multiply 2x minus 3 and x plus 4. This you need to use whatever method it is that you use, the box or FOIL, to do. FOIL would be first, 2x squared, outside, inside, last. Now you can hopefully see that this is a quadratic equation. I'm combining like terms now. And in order to solve a quadratic equation, we need to set it equal to 0. So we're going to move our negative 6. So 0 equals 2x squared plus 5x minus 18. At this point, when you're solving a quadratic equation, you need to factor. And this is the kind that has a number in front of the x squared. So we're going to multiply the first term by the last term with negative 36. And we need the factors of negative 36 that add up to positive 5. Now you can do the whole chart like this, or like in my head, I know that 36 is 9 and 5. 9 and 4, sorry. And that one had popped out at me right away because that middle term is 5x. Since this is negative, 1 has to be negative. Because this is positive, the small one will be negative. So then we're going to replace the middle term with that. And you guys should remember that from the beginning of the semester. We're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to pull a 2x from that first set, and we have x minus 2. And we're going to pull 9 as our GCF from the second set. And we're going to take our x minus 2 and then our leftovers, 2x plus 9. And then we need to solve the mini equations. So x minus 2 equals 0 and 2x plus 9 equals 0. And divide by 2. So the solution set is 2 and negative 9 over 2, which probably should have been in the other order, but it's fine. So that's how you solve a rational equation. Now, as I said before, if you wanted to multiply the whole thing, do it method 2, solve by least common denominator. The least common denominator would be 2 times x plus 4. So when you multiply by that, you're going to cancel out everything and end up solving this same equation. So I would go with proportion probably, but hey, it's up to you. All right, last example. This one has a step we need to do. We kind of need to condense that first, or the right-hand side, before we move on. So in order to condense it, we're going to have to get a common denominator. I'm going to have c minus 4, which means we need a c minus 4 in the numerator. This side, I'm going to factor the c. And on this side, we're going to combine. All right, simplify the numerator. Equals, distribute, c minus c plus 4. 3c minus 2 over c times c minus 4 equals 4 over c minus 4. All right. Now you could cross multiply or multiply by the common or least common denominator. I'm going to go with cross multiplying because I feel like you guys are going to be more comfortable with that one right now. All right. This side we can distribute 4c squared minus 16c equals FOIL 3c squared minus 12c minus 2c plus 8. It is quadratic, so we're going to start moving, or combine first and then move stuff over. Combine like terms. I'm going to move the 3c squared. And obviously you can do this in less steps, but I'm just going to kind of do it completely. Right now just solving for 0. And subtract the 8. So we end up with c squared minus 2c minus 8 equals 0. We need to factor this. So what are the factors of negative 8 that add up to negative 2? C minus 4, C plus 2. Solve the mini equations. So C is 4 and negative 2. So the solutions are negative 2 and 4. All right. Sometimes you should check to make sure there aren't extra answers in it. If we substituted 4 in, we would have a 0 in this denominator, but this side would still equal negative 1. 0 is undefined. So 4 is probably an extraneous solution. 16 and 16, yeah. So the real answer is just negative 2. The 4 is extra. It doesn't work. All right, hopefully that was a good overview. Sorry if I sound sleepy or if my handwriting's bad. It's been kind of a weird week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.